Hey, this is Joe from the Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the AA word of the day. And the word of the day for today, January 14th, is no regrets. And I'm trying this at a different angle as the sun changes its position in the sky. I don't see any clouds, so I probably get about a half hour more where I can record stuff, and then the sun is going to be directly in my face. So, no regrets. Very short quote. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. And that is from out the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 83. And here's the commentary. Once I became sober, I began to see how wasteful my life had been, and I experienced overwhelming guilt and feelings of regret. The program's fourth and fifth steps assisted me enormously in healing those troubling regrets. I learned that my self centeredness and dishonesty stemmed largely from my drinking, and that I drank because I was an alcoholic. Now I see how even my most distasteful past experience can be turned to gold because, as a sober alcoholic, I can share them to help my fellow alcoholics, particularly newcomers. Sober for several years in AA, I no longer regret the past. I am simply grateful to be conscious of God's love and of the help I can give to others in the fellowship. Amen. This is a powerful part of the first step. I spent many, many years, even after I was sober. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee. Regretting all the time I spent drinking in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The 60s was a much more sporadic drinking. Yeah, 63 when I picked up my first drink. I was a young kid. It was the summer between grammar school and high school. And I didn't have any money, but we'd go polish shoes and get used to return the bottles. Or you could go help a guy say, I'll straighten out all your Coke bottles, and he'd give you a quarter or something. Work that a person owning a garage didn't want to have to do with filling up the gas tanks. And so a little kid could find something to do. And then what I did was, well, me and my friend Bob, we stood outside a liquor store and waited for someone that looked like they were sympathetic to us go in and get us a bottle of wine, Boone's Farm apple wine. Who remembers that? And yeah, so I did that. I loved the feeling, but I couldn't do it all the time. And then when I went to high school, they read the riot act. I was on a swimming scholarship, and if you get out of line, you get kicked off the team. Your scholarship will be gone. So, except for the summers, I tried to live the straight and narrow as best I could. But during the summertime, I drank. Uh, and then, well, the late 60s, I graduated from high school and went to college. And college was a very real challenge to stay sober because most of the students in there were in school to get the student deferment and not have to go in the draft. I wasn't going to be old enough for the draft until my senior year, my birthday of my senior year. And so, like, it wasn't so much of a threat to me when President Nixon pulled, even when he pulled the student deferments and started drafting college students. it still didn't, but I wasn't old enough. But when my time came, I was number 24 in the lottery. So that's a whole nother story. So I had so much guilt that I wasted it. And this guilt came when I became sober because I saw what I could do when I wasn't drinking, how much work I could accomplish. I mean, I even accomplished a lot when I was drinking, but it just really, really deep regret that I don't, they, you get on YouTube and you can see these things about old television programs. I never watched any television. I drank. There are whole shows that lasted for 8 years that I never saw one single episode. It just didn't interest me. And if I drank a lot in bars, not exactly sports bars, but bars that had a large male clientele. Uh, guys trying to get away from their wives and everything, and they'd always have hockey games on. There was always something all year, hockey games, football games, uh, baseball games, you name it. And so I never watched much of the serial TV, so it's all new to me. So I'm one of those guys who can sit and watch like Me TV and see programs on there that are 40, 50 years old, and boom, I never watched them. So they're new to me. The only thing is that some of them are in black and white. So, yes, I did have that overwhelming feeling of guilt and regret that I wasted so much of my time. And like I said, that persisted until I got in the steps of AA, where you have to accept yourself as you are. I mean, you can't go in the past and say, "Well, no, I didn't drink at the end of the '60s and all of the '70s and all of the '80s. I got sober in 1991." I couldn't say that, so I had to accept that that's what I did. But as it says here, I can turn that around into a treasure trove to help other alcoholics, to tell my story, what I did for all those years drinking. I say 28 years, 63 to 91. But the first few years were very, very much drinking, but a lot of jackpots, physical jackpots, falling down, hurt myself. Uh, but I was limited by the money that I had. So, and then I learned that I drank because I was an alcoholic. And that's the most natural thing for an alcoholic to do is to drink. So it says here, now I see how even my most distasteful past experiences can turn gold because as a sober alcoholic, I can share them to help my fellow alcoholics, particularly newcomers. And that is a great feeling that even in all that refuse, that garbage of my past, I can use it to help other people. So there is some value to it. I went through it for a reason. And I really believe I went through all that and it got me here where I am today. I doubt very much that I would be alive. I have the evidence of three younger brothers who drank and drugged and are no longer here. They all died from the use and abuse of alcohol and then drugs. So that's pretty clear to me. And I'm glad. I used to say when I was very at meetings very frequently, it's tough for me now. I used to say, I quit the day before I died. And I like to keep that thought in my mind that you never know. You just never ever know. I told a story before of a young woman who I loved tremendously. She was so nice. She was struggling with alcohol, and she'd come in and maybe get 2 weeks and come in and say, I slipped. Well, that continued for a while. She got a sponsor. They were working together. But one night she went out. She had a slip, and she killed 3 people at an intersection not close from where the meeting was. And most people say, "Oh, that changed their life." It changed the life of the 3 people that ended their life. And as a consequence, her life was changed forever. And that last meeting, it was a Friday night meeting that I last saw her. I never know what happened to her. It was in the paper, different things, but by the time the trial and all that came up, I had moved out of state, and so you just never know, and that's why I like that phrase. I quit the day before I died. And so I can join the author of this reflection. I'm simply very grateful to be conscious of God's love and of the help I can give to others in this fellowship. And that's why I do these uh, little podcasts. And I did get something that improves it greatly. I got a cell phone standard, but it actually works on my tablet. I have a Kindle HD8 tablet, and I can do the videos in it just fine. They upgrade it when I upload it, so that's a plus too, or a minus, depending on if my ugly face bothers you. You might want SD rather than HD. So God bless. Have a safe and sober day, and see you tomorrow.